Something I've been thinking about is the mystery of the creative process, specifically the moment of creating and the confusion. I can only talk from my own perspective, but there is always uncertainty and confusion, especially when first starting a session of recording. And that seems to be because I do not feel responsible for their sounds when they become songs. I feel so unconscious, so there is quite often anxiety when I first start because I do not have a set. I have some things that are set. I have found that my guitar is often like my beat from which I riff on top of. And quite often when I start, I feel confused. When I start to do recording, my thinking mind gets more involved and gets confused and it judges things. It says, this is wrong, this is right. And at the same time, I am very aware that that is the very thing that is in the way. And quite often when I start a recording session, I have to remind myself that at the start, I have to just start anywhere. It doesn't matter where, because the beginning is very much about, for me, disconnecting from the thinking mind and loosening. Loosening where I can follow the emotions without judgment, where I can follow the sounds without judgment. And quite often when I'm starting this, sometimes I have found that that during the recording session, my mind might be judging the sound in some particular way, negatively, and it seems so out of touch with what it actually is. Just something I've learned is to not trust that thinking mind, because it doesn't know the way. It doesn't know the way to a song, for me, but the thinking mind finds it very difficult to let go, because it likes to be in control. But that is something that is really important for me in songwriting, is that it is the art of letting go. I am a person who has a lot of anxiety, and so the experience of letting go is very powerful in itself, and that music allows me to do that is very powerful in itself. There's something about allowing it to sound bad. There seems to be a layer. Allow it to sound bad. Allow it to be wrong. Allow yourself to feel uncomfortable, and keep doing that and there will be little bursts through that thickness, through that layer of that is in the way. And these things we find, these songs, they will always be a mystery for me. That is something I have to accept. And for me, it is like mining for gems, some kind of mining. And I have to accept that those coherent creations that pull me in, they can be rare to find. For me, they are special, and they are special because I don't know how I get them, and I don't know how to find them. But I know something. I know how to walk towards them, and I have some ideas of how to make that walking more comfortable. I have to learn to follow the inclinations. My mind will judge whatever I do. In the previous recording cycle, I noticed that I kept going towards this feminine voice, and my mind was getting very annoyed with that. But then, as I look back, I realized those were songs. And I like them. And now, in my current recording process, I am noticing I'm going towards a particular type of voice expression. And I notice my mind getting annoyed with that, trying to control it, saying it's wrong. But this time, I remember my experience from before, and I can say, if you have the inclination to express in that way, that is the way you should be expressing now. Even if it feels wrong, it's the way your body is enjoying to express. To push through the uncomfortable and follow the curiosity, follow the inclination. Because that is the thing that is keeping you alive right now. That is what is pulling you towards life.